Is the 27-inch Apple Studio Display 5K still worth it in 2025? Or is it just cheaper to purchase an LG or Samsung? Well, for someone that doesn't just have one, has two as their main displays since February of 2024, stay tuned to hear my thoughts. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are talking about the Apple Studio displays, the 27-inch 5K that's been released for a while. I've had these as my main displays for YouTube, working from home, doing personal work, surfing the web, doing all the things since February 2024. The versions that I have is the basic version. It's just the tilt stand. I got the glossy version, not the nano texture. If you are familiar with the 5K iMacs, this is basically the display externally, so you can connect a MacBook, a Mac Mini, Mac Studio, and I have a Mac Studio Max M2 connected to these displays since 2024. Now, out of the box, it is 218 pixels per inch. It gives you about 600 nits of brightness and 5K resolution. So one of the main reasons why I got these displays, just to give you some context, is if you are new to the channel, I used to have a Samsung Neo G9 49-inch widescreen display, and it had a matte finish. Did a lot of editing, love that display. And I wanted to replicate, while I was doing video editing, what I see on screen on the main displays that are going to be using or watching the videos I'm creating, regardless if it's on YouTube or for my professional work. So I have that same color, that same image that I'm editing on iPads, iPhones, etc. And the other thing is, I used to have a MacBook Pro. I still have a MacBook Pro, and sometimes I'll connect it to the displays. And when you're just used to that glossy display and you're using and connecting it to a larger display, it's very familiar. Unlike the other displays that I had, which granted the ultra-wide display only was 1440p at its highest resolution. And with this display, because it's 5K and I'm video editing 4K, I'm getting really nice, crisp image. And because it's Apple and all in the same ecosystem, it's just not nice, clean, and crisp. Now, what do these displays have versus, let's say, the cheaper LG and Samsung displays? Well, you do get a little bit more, but does it really justify the high price tag? So one, I used to have external speakers, studio speakers when I'm video editing, obviously headphones as well. And I would really need a large desk for that 49-inch displays, external speakers, then connect a webcam to it, etc. And for webcam, I'd start using my actual better cameras, I would say, versus just a webcam. And it was a little bit overkill at times, but because I had the cameras, it was just nice to use. With these displays, it does come with a built-in webcam, as well as speakers and a mic. So for working from home, and you need to run on a quick Zoom call or Microsoft Teams or anything like that, the webcam isn't anything amazing. However, it's great on a pinch. The speakers, impressively, are really, really good. I have had no issues getting rid of my studio displays, and when I'm video editing, I'm using a pair of headphones anyways, so I have no issues. Now, granted, I have two. The only, I would say, issue that I would have is I can use the Apple software to connect the speakers, but it connects it not in stereo. It will connect it in mono. So to get that stereo experience, I do have to choose one display or the other. Apple, if you can find a way to make that so I can have one display as the left speaker and one display as the right speaker, that would also be a really good thing if you can do some software tweaks for 2026. So on the back of displays, it does have one Thunderbolt 3 port, which you can connect and also charge your MacBook or MacBook Pro. And it has 3 USB-C ports to make everything nice and clean for any accessories. So on the back of my displays, I do connect a couple things. One specifically being my Rodecaster Duo. I also connect through the back for a clean setup. SD hard drives. So I do have some external hard drives that I connect through USB-C just to make it nice and seamless, because I do edit my videos off my T7 Samsung hard drives, and it's been very smooth, had no issues, and it's literally fast enough as if I am editing off the internal hard drive for even 4K footage. Now, again, I am using a Mac Studio as well, so your performance could vary. And enough about specs. Let's just go into the nitty-gritty and why I love these displays, and kind of look at some opportunities and help you make a better decision if you want to purchase these for 2025 or for 2026. So first off, right out of the box, if you don't have color calibration, the colors is like what you would see on your MacBook. Is it accurate? It's as accurate as I can see it. And especially if you're used to your iPhone, your iPad, and you're in the Apple ecosystem, it's a really good match. Typically, sometimes I will use my iPad as a third display, and having the color accuracy between the 3 displays are really bang on or really close to it. Now, other than that, I really got 2 displays for multitasking and specifically for video editing on Final Cut Pro. So I can have my timeline and my preview and my color scopes on one display, and then I can have the full screen of what the changes I've done is what I'm actually seeing on the full 27-inch on the other side. Now, working from home, it's really nice because I do have the built-in webcam, and I can move my documents left or right, especially when I'm presenting. So I can be looking at the webcam and have my notes on the one screen, and I can kind of just glance to see that my slideshow, what's next, etc., is what everyone else is seeing. Now, other than that, when it comes to text clarity, I notice a huge difference. Again, that contributes to that high resolution of 5K versus something like the Neo 49-inch, where you can kind of really see the text start to pixelate, which isn't really a big deal. It's just a nice to have, just to see that clarity. When it comes to watching YouTube, Netflix, or any media, it is a joy to have this on the 27-inch display, 5K resolution. And yes, typically I'll have work on one side and media on the other to just distract me a little bit. I do have this timer as well, and what I do is I typically will just put a timer on for 25 minutes for just focused work, and then take a little break and just give me some time to refresh myself, give myself a break. And yeah, I'll do research as well. So if I'm not watching media, it's nice to have, let's say, my PowerPoint on my Word document or anything like that that I'm doing for work, and have my research or my internet tabs on the other display to kind of just get through all the content that I need to go through. So even researching, let's say for this video, just refreshing myself on specs, etc., and kind of remind myself, why did I purchase these 2 displays? Now, truth be told, in 2026, I am going to try something a little bit different, and instead of having dual Apple Studio displays, I have downsized my desk in recent years, and I really feel that I could get away with just one display and having my iPad as a secondary display if needed. Because I've been finding lately I am becoming a little bit more efficient, and the secondary display is kind of just really good to have. So even though I have 2, I wouldn't highly recommend it unless you really want that clarity and your big focus is on video editing, or if you feel 27-inch display is just not large enough for the multitasking you may be doing in your creative or your work. Okay, so I've talked a lot about the positives, and I do really enjoy working on this. Now, I do want to also talk about some opportunities for display and maybe some things or cons that may stop you from getting displays. One, if you're in a super bright room, just like any glossy screen, it will cause reflections. I would say not lucky. I'm blessed that I am in an area where I actually don't even have any windows and I can really control the lighting. So if you can really control the lighting in your room, you won't have any issues with that glossy display. And as you get bigger displays and they're glossy, kind of think about the TVs that you have in your room. If you have a OLED, or maybe not an OLED, but an LCD display, when you get glare from windows or from light. So just kind of be aware of that. Number two, I got the basic version, so the ergonomics isn't that great. It just tilts. So I do have an adjustable chair to get a better height. I have the monitor on risers. So if you have that, even something simple as just stacking books, just to have a good view of the display. And the other thing that you may not know, this does not have HDR, so it runs in SDR. I haven't had really any issues, but if you are wanting an HDR display, or maybe you're used to it to your existing displays and you're thinking about going to the Apple Studio displays, unfortunately, it doesn't support HDR. And last, which is the price tag, is having the glossy display, 5K resolution, built-in speakers, one Thunderbolt 3, and 3 USB-C per display. Is it really worth the price tag where we can see that you can get more affordable displays with 4K panels? That's going to be kind of a decision for you. For me, it has really streamlined my setup. Again, I do have a Sony a7 IV that I will use for professional Zoom calls or calls that I do want to impress, but mainly that a7 IV is for YouTube or for live streams, etc. However, 90% of the time, I do use the built-in webcam. Clean setup with not having to have my studio speakers. The speakers actually work really, really great. I really legitimately have no problems with them. Okay, let's get practical. Who is this Apple Studio display really for? So for one, if you are an Apple-centric, Mac-only creator, and you are already in the ecosystem, this really is streamlined for Final Cut Pro, watching YouTube, all the things, clean setup, and for your accessories, again, if you are in that Apple ecosystem. Second, if you are a Mac user in your 9 to 5 and you're using a MacBook or MacBook Pro for work, this gives you basically when you come home that same experience with a larger screen. And third, if you don't care about HDR and you are happy with just your MacBook, or I didn't even say MacBook, but if you're just happy with a bright 600 nits display, really getting that seamless experience, you got the full P3 gamut, you are good to go. So to break this down, buy it if you're a Mac creator, you're working from home, and you value quality text and 5K. Skip it if HDR is important to you or if you're budget focused and you're using multiple OSs. So obviously, meaning if you need Windows, this isn't going to be a really good pair. Okay, so hopefully you found value in this video so far, but the final verdict for me for my workflow, these have been great. Again, I've said it multiple times, it's streamlined my desk setup. And in 2026, I am going to minimize and go down to one display and see how that works for me. The 5K resolution is amazing. Final Cut Pro, having two displays is great to have. And just having that consistency in my final edit on how it will look on my Apple display, my MacBook, my iPad, and my iPhone has been great. And also, when it really comes down to it, I am in the Mac ecosystem. I don't have any Windows devices. I do have one, which is a work computer, but I've really transitioned a lot of that work and my work email onto my iPad anyways. So it's very, very minimal that I use anything outside a Mac operating system. So hopefully you found value. Hopefully this will help you in your journey and your purchase for a new display. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next one.